Somebody who I saw, what was your name?
Rudy?
Yeah, I saw Rudy trying to get his friend's parents' phone number. So this inspired me to teach this to you guys. So I'm going to teach you guys how to get your friends' parents' phone numbers. Who's ever had their friend give them a hard time by trying to get their mom's phone number, right? The reason why you're getting that is because you're giving them too much information.
Yeah, it's true.
So here's what the conversation looks like when you want to get your friend's parents' phone number. Whether it's via text message, whether it's on Facebook, which is the best way to use it. So what you do is you just say like, hey, do you have a quick second? And what do most people say to that?
Yes.
Right, so the next thing you say is, hey, what's your parents' home phone number? By the way, who has said many other things before that sentence, right? That's why you didn't get the number. Right, because your friends don't actually care what their parents are doing. They're just nosy, right? It's like, think about it this way, like, who here thinks their mom might be watching TV right now? Possibly, okay? Like, do you care what television show she's watching? No. What if in like the middle of a show some commercial came out about some blender and asked to buy it? Do you really care? No, and even if she buys it, you might like say something, but it's not your money, so you don't really care. You're just nosy because you have nothing better to do with your life. Right? And so that's the same thing as all your friends are. You're just giving them information to be nosy about. So again, all you say is, I actually want you to write this stuff down. So the first thing you say is, do you have a quick second? Like, hey, do you have a quick sec? And they're going to say, sure, what's up? And they're going to say, what's your mom's, and it's mom specifically because you always want to talk to the moms, home phone number. What's your mom's home phone number? So at that point, you're going to get two different things that happen. There's going to be like 25% of people that are just going to give you the number. And you're like, no way. I'm like, yes, wait, it will actually happen. Those are the people that are like me. I could give two shits what my mom is doing on a daily basis. It's her own life. I know you're recording me now, I'm swearing, I'm fine. She could just do whatever she wants. I don't care. If somebody tries to sell her something, it's up to her to say no or yes. I don't care what she does. Right? As long as it's like legal, obviously, right? So I would just be like, you want a number? Here you go. I don't care what you want to do. Fine, sure, hey. As long as I sort of know who you are, not some sort of mass murderer or criminal. There's going to be a bunch of other people who are like the nosy people. You guys know who you are. You'd be like, so what is it for? By the way, they're not saying like, what for? That's what in your head you think they're saying it like. But they're actually just saying, oh, what for? And here's what you reply with. 3 magical words. This is the only thing you're allowed to say ever. It's for school. Because what is the last thing all your friends want to talk about right now? That's why. So at that point, by the way, who has said some really dumb stuff besides that? Thank you, that's why I didn't get the number. Right? So it's for school. None of your friends want to talk about school. So at that point, another about 30 to 40% of them will say, oh, here it is. And I'll tell you what to say once I do that, because you want to do some other stuff after that. If they're like, oh, for what? This is going to be like some people that are kind of just giving you a hard time, because they're just really nosy. They have really nothing else to do but wonder what their parents are doing. So here's what you finish off by saying. It's for a project. It's for a project, right? Another thing your friends won't want to talk about, some project of your school. I need to get people's parents' opinion on a product. That's it. At that point, like 80-90% of people will just give you the number. That's enough information. Okay, I could see some teacher making you want to get some people's parents. That sounds fine. That seems harmless. I don't really care. Here's the number. At that point, almost, as long as that's all you have said, if you start adding some stuff about scholarships and knives and your job, it's over. This is all you're allowed to say, as long as you want to make money. All right, so at this point, the majority of them will give them to you. Now, at this point, they might give you the number. I like to call Mrs. Jones by her first name. That way I don't sound like a telemarketer. So what I say in order to get the name is I say, oh, so what's your mom's name again? Or should I call her Mrs. Rudy's mom? Right? They laugh and they actually give you the name. That is verbatim what I say every single time. Like, oh, what's your mom's name? Or should I call her Mrs. Rudy's mom? They're like, oh, it's Susanna. Whatever it is. Great, awesome. Hey, thank you so much. Hey, I gotta get back to work, but I owe you a Starbucks, whatever. Like, I really, and you just like get off the phone because you don't want to start, because they might ask you questions at that point. So how have you been for the summer? Sorry, I'm working. Like, go, like, you are gone, you talk to the next one. Now, a couple pointers with this thing. You want to ask multiple people at the same time. And I do this off Facebook a lot. And so, like, I don't just ask one person for the psychological reason. And sometimes, when you talk to one person on Facebook, they're not actually really there. They just have their, like, page open, and you're like, ask them, and you're like, oh, they hate me. No, they're actually just not there. They're, like, in the bathroom. They're, like, playing video games. They're, like, just not, they just left their Facebook open, so you can't take it personally. So I'll typically ask, like, 4 or 5 people at the same time, because one of them's going to reply. So what if they tell you, oh, my mom doesn't have a home phone? Right? Sometimes that happens, and like you'll feel like, oh, I'm done, because I don't have a home phone. So I just reply, oh yeah, I know, we don't either. What's your mom's cell phone then? In your mind, you're like, oh, they must think I'm trying to bang her or something. No, that's not at all what they're thinking. Right? Like, I got there, like, oh, it's gonna be weird. Like, I'm asking for their mom's number and stuff. Like, in your head, like, you think all these weird, crazy things. None of that is actually true. Right? You can just ask. It's not a big deal. Right? I don't know why I said that out loud. It's so weird. Don't post this on our...
No.
This is for you guys.
It's for me.
Like,
yeah.
I already posted it. Thank you.
Damn. Well, might as well.
Tag Lloyd, tag Bruce.
Yeah, we have some exciting things to build it from last time. They know about all that?
Who?
Bruce? No, the April Fool's joke.
Oh yeah, I know.
Well,
All about that.
Details.
We'll tell some. If they hit like 10 demos. If you promote anybody, but during the time I'm here, maybe I'll talk about it. All right. So another thing about this. What else about this?
Oh, he got me.
Can we focus here? I'm only here for like 3 days. So getting mom's number. If you notice that they're like kind of sort of like continuing to give you a hard time, at that point I'll throw in like the oh come on I'll buy you Chipotle. I'm like, oh come on, I'll bribe you with something or whatever is like the local Taco Palenque, whatever it is. Alright? So I'll be like, oh come on, I'll get you some Taco Palenque, and most people will be like, alright, fine.
I'll buy you a 6-pack.
Yeah. But it's not a 6-pack.
Every time.
But honestly guys, so who should you approach on Facebook with this?
Friends.
Literally
Friends.
everybody.
Yeah. Everybody?
Every single person that you're friends with. Wow. I'll put it this way. If they say no, they're really not your friend anyways, and you should defriend them.
I'd have too many friends anyway.
Just ask them all. I mean, so sometimes they're like, oh, like what if they're not in town? Well, then what do?
You wait. You're just blowing my mind.
There's nobody that you can't do this with. Yeah, maybe you want to focus on local people as best as you can, but if they're in like, California, okay, virtual demo. You're like, yeah, actually you can do it over the phone, it's no big deal. This should open for you 3 to 4 people every single week, if not more. Sometimes, I sat down with this one kid when I was up in Houston and got him 18 people in an hour. He was blown away. I've never had all yeses all in a row. Every single person said yes. He was blown away that people that he hadn't talked to in 5-6 years from 8th grade that he was like, I can't ask this person. I'm just like, shut up. And I took his computer and just did it for him. I'm like, if you're not going to have the guts to be a man, then I'll do it for you. And then he did it, and he went out and sold big because of it. I mean, dude, what's the worst thing they're going to say? They're not going to shoot you. Like I said, if they say no, then they're not your friend. And what's the difference? Well, you were at the same place at the end of that than you are at the beginning of that. Still without the lead. But I promise you, if you do this and have some guts, this is the kind of thing that champions do. They try stuff that other people are scared to do, and that's why they get a chance to do stuff like that. All right, make that paper. So, like I said, if you're ever scared, be like, do I want to be me or do I want to get that kind of paycheck? And if you want to get those kinds of paychecks, then you have to do stuff that other people don't do.
I need to take some pre-workout before I come over here so I can just call everybody.
Yeah, dude, it's not too hard. Once you get the first yes, you'll get adrenaline and you'll want to do it some more. Okay, cool. All right, so that's the first thing I wanted to teach. The second thing is that right now, so all the high schools are graduating right now, right? For the next 3 or 4 days, there are still people in the high schools. People are grading random stuff. There's just people working in the high schools. You guys literally have 3 days to go to your high schools and get some of those last minute people before they leave for the summer. It's almost too late. But it's not too late. Are all the high schools done right now?
No, I went to La Jolla today, and literally it's just flocked with all the teachers and everything like that, but the kids are all gone.
Right.
So everyone's there.
So here's what you do. You show up dressed like you are right now. Put a suit, put a tie on. But other than that, everybody, you show up looking right with your blue book, and I'm going to teach you how to make a goals page in a minute that's going to rock your teacher's world. Because what is a teacher's job?
Teach.
To help students. Right? So if they said no to your demo, they in fact would be not helping a student, so they should lose their teaching license, right? Because they're like against job description violation. If I went to a doctor and they're like, I'm sorry, I can't treat you because I don't want to, I'm like, you're the worst doctor ever, right? And so that's why all teachers said yes to me when I asked for them. Now you can't just be in like, hey, I want to tell you something nice. You have to actually give them some, you got to give them something that they're going to want to help with. And so that's why the goals page, the About Me page, is so crucial to you getting people like teachers to want to help out. Has anybody made a goals page in their Blue Book yet?
Okay. I made a goals page for myself.
Okay, so the answer is no. All right, so here's what you want to do.
My Blue Book's right behind you.
You have one in here?
I might.
Probably. Yeah. So this is. Okay.
Oh, that was for the high school.
Yeah. So the Blue Books. There's not really a perfect goals page in here. So here's what a goals page is. Are you guys pretty familiar with screenshotting pictures off Facebook and stuff like that? You guys are talking about? Okay, well. All right, so what you want to do is you want to start thinking about why you're working here, and it's not to make money. I mean, it is to make money, but like 12 years from now, it wouldn't have been to make the money you're making for the next 6 months. There's something that all of you are looking to do beyond working for Vector. Maybe you want to like run your own business. Anybody want to run a business one day? Maybe you just want to like move out of your parents' house and become independent. Anybody want to do that? Okay. Anybody want to like go off to like college, grad school, maybe become like really respected while in the community, something like that? Raise your hand. Right. So all of you guys have different reasons. For example, one of my buddies that I work with, named John Schultz, that's out in Alabama. His big thing is he, he's not in school anymore. He's got kind of like he's a CSB, so he works with people full time. So he's got his career, but his thing is he wants to raise money for the McDonald's, for the Ronald McDonald House. He had a baby that died when he was really young, and he wants to like donate money to that. That's part of his About Me page. Mine was like, I'm like saving money for my future. I'm going to Argentina this summer. I'm trying to raise money to buy a house. I have my goals that are going to be different from yours, but moms are very visual learners. So are teachers. That's why they have all of your things on your refrigerator since you were 1 year old. And they never want to throw anything out. Because the idea of all those visuals like strike a hard chord, right? I mean, girls even specifically, but moms are like that on steroids. And so you want to really drive that hard through the demo, and that starts with your goals page. So I'm going to give you guys some ideas. What do I do with the dry erase marker? Oh, what you guys want to be thinking about as far as the goals page. So basically what you do is you open up like a PowerPoint slide, and you want to screenshot pictures of so let's say this is our slide. So maybe you put like family. Everybody has like that one picture of like all their family. Maybe it's like you and your folks, or maybe you and your brother, somebody you're close to, right? And then you've got maybe like you and like, the boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. All right, somebody of your loved one. Then maybe you have like travel. So for me, like I had Argentina right there. Then maybe you have like something about your future. So this can be like school. One of the managers I work with, Zanny Baker, up in Albuquerque, she has a picture of her sitting in the district manager's office. Like her goal is to be the district manager by 2015. So that's why she's selling, right? Then you've got maybe like the medical school, the grad school that you want to graduate from, that you're like raising money to go. Like whatever it is, it's all got to be like pictures, right? Like whatever it is. And then around it, you should have like little text boxes. You know how you can put little text boxes? And each of the text boxes has to have like a little bit of a description about what this means to you. And then in the middle should be some of your goals. So that could include like, sell, 30K this summer. In order to do that, I have to do 10 appointments per week. And then you can put like financially independent. I want to buy my own car. I want to pay off my student loan. You got like, maybe 4 or 5 of these right in the middle. And that's it. That's what an About Me page looks like. It'll probably take you about half an hour to make. Show it to Nick, show it to Cassie, show it to me if you want. Post it on Facebook for us to see. We'll give you some feedback on it. You just print it. Make sure it's printed in color. So if you got to pay 50 cents to Kinko's or Office Max, do that because it's worth it to see it in color. It makes it look more professional. And then on the other side of this, you got to have a thermometer. And I think you guys all have thermometers, right? They come in your fast start page. This thing. So this is for your fast start, but now you got to make one for your actual beyond the fast start because the job's not only 10 days, right? And so then you got your thermometer, which looks exactly like that, and it's got maybe you break it down monthly. maybe this is my thermometer for the month of June, and you want to hit 10,000 by the end of the month of June, whatever the number is, 5,000, 1,000, whatever your number is. And so you've got your thermometer, right? And then each person will basically, once you get to 500, you sign it. They make it up. And then it's this is 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, up to whatever it is. And you just keep filling it in. You do different colors and whatever. And then each person you ask them to sign their name. Once you make a sale, each person signs it. And it creates this public, hey, everyone's doing this. And so people are oh, I'm not the only one that's helping out. Oh, there's a bunch of you. Oh, actually, that's Judy. You know Judy, right? She's your neighbor? Yeah, so I just saw her yesterday. Right? Spurs recommendations, all this other stuff. Right? And so this is on one page, and on the other page, they basically, it should be in one of these clear plastic sheets. It's sort of a plastic store. And you can have, if you want, maybe you can have parts of the, maybe you cut up part of the All-American page, you want to have that in there too. The more the better when it comes to goal stuff. Right? And so this is, his, I don't know, this is the letter you got when you started working here. Moms like to hear about stories. They want to know why, and so when I open up my, when I got to my, my teachers, I'm like, hey, I just wanted to first of all say thank you. I know, I graduated and everything, and I started a new job. I was just wondering if I could just tell you a little about it. So I've got these really big goals right now. That to teacher is crack, right? If you tell them you have goals, holy shit, right? Most of the students are not the opposite of having goals, right? They're slugs. And so you're I have these goals, and she can tell that you took some time, right? You got your pictures, and she's going down, oh, you're so big, right? Your family, I remember your mom, this whole thing they're going through, right? You tell them all about it. And then you show them your, your thermometer and everything, and all I need to do in order to do this is I just have to get your opinion on a product. It takes about 25, 30 minutes. Each of them I get credit for, and it really, really helps out for my scholarship. I was wondering if I could give you a call about it, so I could do the appointment with you or your husband or whatever it is. That tells them that it's not going to be in the office in the school, right? I want to do it for both of you guys to get credit for both of you guys being there. When can I give you a call about it? And we're well, you've got your calendar, you can maybe set it up right there on the spot. Because all you need is that first person. And then after you get that first person, you just go to your favorite everybody knows their one favorite teacher that they would go to if you had something like this. And then you're hey, who else should I call? Who else should I talk to? Maybe the librarian. Hey, can you call her over to see if she's there and see if I can go over there? And so now you're getting recommendations to other teachers, right? So you're not walking in cold to any other offices. And you can go to you could literally go into all the offices, for whatever you want to do. And this, I think you should be able to get at least 3 or 4 teachers, as long as you do it in the next 3 days. I think after that you're almost out of luck. Cool. So you got the Facebook people where you get a bunch more people from. You got the teachers that you can get a lot more people from. I think this right now is a huge resource that I bet you a lot of you are pretty fired up to use, right? And so we're going to give you guys time for the next 3 days to take advantage of this, and I want to start hearing some hot news about who's actually getting the guts. Because a lot of you guys are going to be excited right now, but once you wake up tomorrow, some of you guys are going to not be brave, and you're going to miss out. Did anybody here go to the same high school? Right? And so some of you guys are going to be competing. So whoever shows up first gets the person. You can't do the same demo for the same person, otherwise, the person's oh, I already did it. Yeah, I bought one of those sets, the one that has the 12 table knives. Yeah, I bought it for my mom. That kind of happened to me because I waited too long. All right, so don't be that guy, obviously. Any questions on this?